Hey guys, welcome to the pre-BlizzCon show predictions. And joined with me today we have Delanis, Jake, and Thomas, otherwise known as Pracy. And we're going to be discussing what we expect from BlizzCon 2013. And shall we start off with discussing World of Warcraft? And let's look at how many levels, for example, do you think we're going to get? Do you think we're going to get 5 levels, 10 levels?
Based on the heirlooms from Garage Hellscream going up to 100, I'm expecting up to 100.
Yeah, it's gonna be 100.
Oh, well, I was wrong.
I reckoned 100, but I've done a bit of cheating just to
Yeah.
let you know. I've listened to a lot of podcasts and all of that, and I've got a fair idea on what people have been predicting themselves. As for raiding in World of Warcraft, do you think we're going to go to 15-man raiding or stay at 25-man and 10-man raiding? What do you reckon?
Flex rating is basically 15 man because you can go from 10 to 25. So
Mm.
I'm pretty sure they'll just stick with 10 and 25. Keep it the way it is now. I don't know.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want there, can't you? You can do 11, so...
Yeah, Flex Raiden has definitely changed it up, but I wouldn't have a problem if they did go to 15-man raiding because then that would sort out the whole issue of 25-man versus 10-man because you've got to take into example some raids, you got the size of the room and that affects 25 people and 10 people. You can't have the exact same equal fight. It can't be balanced and that you're always going to have this ongoing challenge about who truly deserves to be rank 1 and that's annoying. Anything else you can think of for World of Warcraft? Little things to. What do you reckon they're going to do race-wise? Do you think we're going to have new races or?
I'm expecting ogres, and demon hunters for a class. That's what I want at least.
Right. Okay.
Demon
Sounds
hunters
pretty
would be
cool.
a good addition.
What about
I
you?
want Kobold as a class, as a race.
Oh wow.
I'm not expecting anything at all. I think it's gonna be no new classes, no new races.
I think Pracky might be more on the ball here. He's more of a realistic
Uh-huh.
approach because the game's pretty balanced as it is, and because of the length of time the game has been out, the amount of expansions, we've got a lot of classes out there, and they're pretty well balanced. So do we need any more classes? Do we need any more?
Yeah.
You say yeah, you would do. Demon Hunter,
Keeps the game
I like
interesting.
more.
well,
Tinker, they could add a tinker.
Tinker would be cool as well.
Yeah, like a laser spec, like shoots lasers and stuff.
Well,
Tank spec,
if we
could
went
turn
into
into a robo
Tinker,
goblin.
this is raises another question. Do you think they would bring out a new role? You got tank, DPS, and healer. Do you think they would have a support role, maybe?
They were talking about that.
Buffing roll.
Yeah.
If they had
Bard
to bring out a
style.
class, yeah, it'd have to be some sort of ranged class, I think. I don't think they've actually released a new class which is ranged yet.
No.
Maybe a healer DPS, similar to Disc Priest. Smite spec.
Yeah, they're in a difficult spot because the monk did a fantastic job as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of things wrong with Mr. Pandaria, but I think they got the monk right. But it could do all tanking, all DPS, all healing. It's going to be a bit of a risk to go down the road of saying this class is pure range DPS or this class is pure healer. Do you think they would ever do that? I can't imagine them doing it with healer. Free specs for healing, that would be pretty weird.
No, they wouldn't do that.
No. Okay.
No, they won't.
So
They'll do something easy. They'll do a DPS, an easy DPS, because they can balance it.
I'd say in terms of races and classes, I think we're much more likely to get new races than classes because races doesn't really affect things that much. Classes changes the game. Races is just an aesthetic thing. And if they were going to do that, I'm going to hedge my bet on the Ethereal, and that would be for Alliance, and the Ogres for the Horde, if they were going to do that. And part of the reason why I say that is because there has been a little bit of a leak suggesting that the new Blizzard expansion for World of Warcraft is going to be Warlords of Draenor. And that's going to be going back to the Outlands and all that kind of stuff. There might be. What do you think they'll do for the content? Do you think they'll open up a new sort of world, a new island, or just bring it back to Azeroth somehow?
Well, if it is Warlords of Draenor are probably gonna go back in time, because I don't think they'll rehash Outland the way it is now.
No.
Do you think it's going to be like the Draenei story of how they got abandoned onto Azeroth, or?
I think it'll just be various storylines from old Outland, because there's a lot of untold what's it called, stories back then. Like,
Lore?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be Outland as well, but I think it'll be a separate instance of Outland. I don't think they'll redo Outland. I think it'll still exist there at level 60 and people will go through that, but then you'll get a separate instance of Outland for the new expansion.
That's fair enough. I'm pretty excited whatever they try to do with it. I think you're going down a dangerous path if you ever attempt anything time travel wise, but they've already done it with the Caverns of Time, so why not?
they've done it with Timeless Island as well. They're not really much of time travel, but they're bringing in a lot of lore about
They stopped
travel,
time
so.
there, didn't they? Alright, anything else you can think of? Or is there anything else you wanted to add?
Not really, but it sounds like it might have something to do with Nosdomu if it's going to be time travel.
Yeah. You're right there, Delanis. He's got his green light on
Bit of
Fenrir.
the old lag going on,
I think there's a little bit of lag there, yeah.
World of Warcraft? I'm just hoping for a Warcraft 4. Come on.
Right, okay. Alright, well let's get this bit done first then. So we're moving on from World of Warcraft. Is there going to be a Warcraft 4, yes or no?
I feel like there will be.
Pracky says no.
Maybe not now.
Jake says not now.
Not until I've done the StarCraft 2.
Well, no, in about 20 minutes. So.
Oh yeah, maybe in 20 minutes. You're right.
Yeah, it's getting close.
I'm saying yeah.
I'm gonna say. Well, if I say no, then I'm gonna get screwed when it does get announced. But I'm gonna still say no because it doesn't make sense to bring out Warcraft 4 now. What they need to do, kind of like what they did with Mr. Pandaria, but do it a little bit better, is essentially create a new storyline in World of Warcraft, or they could obviously have Warcraft 4 have its own storyline. And I think a lot of people would prefer that because I know a lot of people are upset about Warcraft 3 being really good story-wise, and then World of Warcraft kind of trashing the story that Warcraft 3 created. I know a lot of people feel that way, but for me, I think they will have to set down some fundamentals, some basics with World of Warcraft, and say, right, the next few expansions, whatever it is, you know, Mr. Pandaria or Warlords of Draenor, and then the next one after that, probably coming up to the next one after that, I would possibly expect a Warcraft 4. So expect it in like BlizzCon 2014 or 2015 just being announced, let alone coming out. And also what Pracky said going on that. StarCraft 2 is their other RTS game. They've still got to bring out Legacy of the Void. They're taking their sweet time. Heart of the Swarm took like almost 3 years to come out. Legacy of the Void is going to be like a year to 2 years probably. So they've got to finish off that RTS series. Otherwise, having 2 RTS games, I don't think that's a smart idea. Finish off StarCraft 2, do some more WoW expansions, and then build a Warcraft 4 from there. So that's Warcraft 4 sorted. Shall we move on to... I would say Hearthstone, but what's there to talk about Hearthstone? What are we expecting from Hearthstone?
I don't know.
Not really much. We already know what Hearthstone is. It's just a card game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pracky?
I'm expecting that they'll actually make it open beta at the end of BlizzCon or during BlizzCon.
Oh yeah, I feel like they will be.
Yeah, that's a
Doing
good
that
point.
They should do. People are at a pretty big disadvantage at the moment. It's not really fair.
Alright, I've got a question.
Plus,
I'll go on, Dylan, quickly.
I was gonna say, I feel like they're gonna do open beta because of the virtual goodies, and everyone wants their Tauren Chieftain card for Hearthstone.
Yeah.
So they're probably gonna make it open beta so everyone can get it.
They should do. They should have done it open beta a long time ago. A lot of people need to get into that game and start enjoying it rather than watching everyone else do it. And that goes for me slightly. But I was going to say, what would you like to see from Hearthstone? I know a couple of you aren't playing it. Jake's watched a lot of videos. Delanis, I'm not sure what your coverage is on Hearthstone.
I know the basic idea.
If I start us off, and this might be the end of it as well, is I've got a few ideas, is they need to have... I can't remember if Jake said this to me or someone said this, but chat channels. Basically, some sort of chat channel going on. It doesn't necessarily have to be with your opponent. If you don't know, when you're playing against your opponent, you can only use emotes such as greetings, hello, or threaten them. You can't actually type to them, and you don't have to type to them, but there would be some nice universal channel. For example, a British channel, like in Warcraft 3, you have Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne,
Yeah.
GBR1. That way you can be chatting to other people or talking about strategies whilst you're playing your cards, and then you can go back to the conversation in the bottom right or something whilst people are like chatting about their day or cards or wow, the new imbalance. So I'd like to see chat. They
I want to see 2v2s in Hearthstone. That would add a huge, huge aspect to the game.
I never even thought about that. That's very interesting. If they could do some sort of 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3. I'm not sure how they implement that, but we could find out. I was also going to say they need, like in Warcraft 3, you have sort of like tournaments every few days, like a 3 versus 3 tournament.
Yeah.
They need to do that sort of thing to keep Hearthstone fresh. So, for example, tomorrow, I'm looking forward to that because the 1 versus 1 tournament is coming out, and if you get so far in a tournament, you get some goodies. Much like in Warcraft 3, the more wins you get, the more points you get towards getting, say, the Pit Lord icon or the Archimond icon. So it's an inspiration. There's a reason to do it, and it's fun.
I've actually seen a Reddit post on this, and I'm just going to totally rip that off as my own idea. There's actually a button, if it's where it says play, practice, arena, there's space for another button underneath, and there's rumours that might be the tournament button.
Yeah,
Wow, that's actually kind of cool.
definitely needs to be a tournament. It makes makes
That one
sense.
myself.
And it would it will make it really competitive then. And also, I'm just going to add this in because I'm going to add this into pretty much any game, and unfortunately Blizzard are going along the casual line lately with their games, and I'd like to see them go back to Warcraft 3 where they have like a solid ladder where you are the best or you don't even rank and it goes up to 1,000. It could go even higher. So there's none of this StarCraft 2 rubbish where you're only in out of 100 players and it doesn't count losses. You can only see the amount of wins you got. I don't want any of that Care Bear stuff. I want to see how many losses I got. I want to compare to other people. I want to go, yeah, I've done well. I've got 100 wins. I've got 40 losses. That's pretty damn respectable. I want to see wins and losses, and I want to see a ladder. I want to see a lot of competitive, and it needs to be just one solid ladder out of all the players in the world or in the region. You can determine who is the very best. What do you think?
It's definitely lacking statistics even, because people on Reddit and things like that have been making their own Excel spreadsheets and public Google Plus spreadsheets so you can update your rewards that you've received from so many wins, so many losses in arena and stuff like that. It's definitely missing statistical analysis in the game.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I don't think we're going to get anything like that at all. I think if you're lucky, you'll get regional rankings, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's much more
Only for
likely.
constructed.
All right, well, that's cool. That's really good input there. Let's move on to Diablo 3, and I'm starting to say Diablo right now. Reaper of Souls. We know that we're going to get the Crusader class. Do you think the Crusader class is going to be any good? Do you think it's enough? Because obviously when you got Diablo 3, you start off with 4 classes. Now you just get 1 extra class. Is it going to be enough? Because there's only 6 abilities to pick from. So things like... Well, let's start off with the Crusader. Are you happy with it?
No.
I haven't even seen it.
Right, there you go.
I don't play Diablo, so I don't know much about it.
Okay, this is going to be more of a conversation for me and Pracky then. Okay, well, let's go into the Crusader. What don't you like about it, Pracky?
I think it basically already exists in the game as Barbarian at the moment.
Absolutely, totally
Does
agree.
Barbarian exist in the game at the moment?
Yes, thank you, Jake. Barbarian is essentially a cross between Barbarian and Monk, as far as I'm concerned, and I can't even see that many differences. It really is essentially just those 2 classes smushed together. They haven't tried anything inventive, and they've not even got that many hero classes out there, so they could totally do a different style. I'm not going to do the work for them and come up with a class for them, but the Voodoo guy, the Witch Doctor's very unique, the Barbarian's very unique, the Demon Hunter's very unique, the Monk's not so unique, but he's okay. It's just Crusaders, I'm interested in it, I'll play it, but it's nothing that new or amazing. Now,
Yep.
what would you like to see from Diablo 3 to fix it? We already know that they're going to sort out and remove the auction house, which is going to make the game a lot better because people can't just buy stuff and then play and then get bored because there's no point in playing because you just bought the stuff, so you finished the game already.
But they'll still trade, won't they? People will still trade. They'll just do it for items or, materials. So they've removed the auction house and the currency, but they're not going to remove the trading. So people are still going to buy stuff, but just with crap they found.
But people still used to trade in Diablo 2, and that was very popular. So, Praki, what do you think about it?
I think it'll work just like Diablo 2. There'll be some sort of currency that arises similar to the Stone of Jordan, where there's one really valuable sought after item where people trade mostly that. They might even rip off Path of Exile in terms of the crafting materials and using them as a currency.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with you. Expect to see a lot of announcements that probably relate to features that are probably from Path of Exile or near as as close as they could be without ripping them off completely, because Path of Exile is a very successful game in its own right, and Diablo 3 kind of lackluster, really. I think it's got a lot of potential. They can definitely fix Diablo 3, but they have to go right. They have to make it hardcore. Like I was going to say, they need to have that separate ladder, don't they? What was we discussing about that at the other some point? It was like they got casual ladder, they got normal ladder where you can't die. They got a hardcore ladder, so they need to make hardcore ladder better in some way. What could they do, really?
Or they just need a ladder mode with ladder resets, similar to
that was
Diablo
it,
2.
yes.
It'll keep people coming back.
That's it. Resets. Definitely resets. That'll keep it fresh, and people can get to like the best of the best, and then it start all over again. And that, if you're willing to go into that, it'll be in like the conditions or whatever. You know what you're signing up for, and that's what makes Diablo 2 still popular to this day, surprisingly enough. It's the resets. People are like, oh, I fancy going back to Diablo. The ladder's going to reset in a couple of weeks. Are you interested in joining me, leveling up a new character? And they're like, yeah. But they wouldn't ever do that. They wouldn't ever say that if there wasn't going to be a ladder reset. You wouldn't just say, oh, do you fancy playing some Diablo 3 and leveling up? No, not really. So, yeah, we want to see that. Anything else you want to discuss about Diablo 3?
Not really. I'm expecting that they're probably going to announce a rough release date, and if I had to guess, it'll probably be summertime.
Right, okay.
I really want to see Barbarian fixed. Like, I loved my Barbarian. I've started on it, got screwed, couldn't get past any difficulty really. Then they fixed it, and it was great. And then they nerfed it again, and it was crap again. Why can't they just fix it and quicker?
It's very...
What's the problem?
Very vague, but it does actually bring me on to one little point that I will finish off with on Diablo 3, is they need to make it hard again. The game hard, difficult. That's what they messed up. The game got too easy. You could go into a whirlwind spec with Barbarian and just, once you got enough gear, you could just hold down your right mouse button, and then just press E every now and then for sprint, which is what I used to do, and just whirl around the mobs. Sure, it's a lot of fun, but then it loses that fun, and it just becomes boring to play because it's too easy. Back when you were leveling up, the game was freaking hard. They really nerfed the hell out of the game completely, and it was stupidly hard, and it was just right because we did manage to beat it. Even then we still managed to beat it in like a week, and that was when it was stupidly hard, because this is when you had to sort of really pay attention to the mobs on the map. If you were a barbarian, you would have to sort of come up to them, hit them, run back, hit them, position yourself against a wall so you're taking minimum damage from mobs that are surrounding you, then pull back into a door, use an ability, pull back. It was all of this. You were really non-stop moving, non-stop using abilities, really thinking about your position, and now you don't care at all. Alright, let's move on to... we've got World of Warcraft done, we've got Hearthstone done, Diablo 3, Warcraft 4. Let's do a little bit of StarCraft 2. I'm not too fussed about this one. What do people want to talk about in StarCraft 2?
They need to make it more user-friendly for sure, because people get ladder anxiety extremely quickly on that game. Because the thing that they did well with Warcraft 3 is that anyone could pick it up and win a game, but with StarCraft 2 you have to have like 300 APM to even win a game.
Yeah, I'd agree. StarCraft 2 is an absolute nightmare. It's more of a job than anything as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You know, when you're playing that game, you have to pay attention to every little detail, and that's not fun. That's not a game. That's a job. That's a chore. If I miss, like, a transport ship flying by a pylon that I had out and about, or if I just didn't even have the pylon out and about and the transport ship just bypasses, he can win the game purely just from that kind of action. That's what really put me off StarCraft 2, is that people can kind of... It's not an easy game by any means. It's really difficult. I think it's much harder than Warcraft 3. But there are moments in it where someone can do much better than someone else, unjustifiably so. In Warcraft 3, you have to work your ass off. You have to micro and really outplay your opponent when you get to top level. But in StarCraft 2, the game can end like instantaneously if another player gets a really good position or just picks off a few workers at the start or something like that. You know, I don't like the way that works in StarCraft 2 whatsoever, and I'm not sure what they can really do to fix it.
Like in Warcraft 3, you could like lose your whole army at the beginning of the game and still win.
You just obviously you would be rightfully so behind, but the option was still there to win. Whereas in StarCraft 2, like you say, this is what I think is, you know, you've lost.
If you lose your army, it's over.
You may as well just leave, because you're not going to come back into the game. It's up to them if they want to. If they screw up monumentally, then you might come back, but you're never going to come back because resources. You have like 30 workers, 20 to 30 workers on each, you know, sort of like expansion mineral mode set, and you're screwed if you get that far behind. So yeah. Custom games in StarCraft 2 are fun, but I don't find myself playing them, and I don't know whether that's because no one else that I know plays them, whether they're good, whether they're getting the right sort of amount of viewage, because Warcraft 3, there's so many beautiful custom games on that, and everyone could play it, but now the StarCraft 2 arcade means that only so many get viewed. Is there any way to fix this? Do we go back to Warcraft 3 style of hosting games and then encouraging people? I mean, chat channels would be the first thing I could think of that would improve custom games monumentally. What's that?
They had Battle.net right with Warcraft 3. It was perfect with Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
With all the friends list and tournaments and everything.
Welcome to Battle.net 0.2 is like what I like to call it.
2.0. Oh, okay, I got it.
Yeah, you get it. You get it. You get it.
I get it.
They took away pretty much everything. They restricted people. You had to pay. I think they've changed this one, but you had to pay to go to sort of like the Kalimdor. Well, the Kalimdor would be Asia servers, or you'd have to pay to go to the US East or the US West. Whereas in Warcraft 3, a game that's like over 10 years old, you can do that for free. It doesn't cost you anything to go to another region. So why would a game that came out like 8 years later or something suddenly be restricted in these things? They can't. I mean, what is the technology's not there? Well, it was there 8 years ago. So I don't know. I don't like what they did with StarCraft 2. I think they messed it up, but that's fine because I'm a big Warcraft 3 fan, and who knows, Warcraft 4 could be around the corner. So let's move on from StarCraft 2.
Nope. I need to talk about some StarCraft 2 related stuff quickly.
Oh, go on. Sorry, I forgot to ask if anyone's finished. Go on, Thomas.
I think an important thing to note of StarCraft 2 is I think Blizzard really have noticed that it's dying, and I think it's all downhill from here. Because they've even sucked away 3 of the main guys from the StarCraft 2 dev team and put them straight onto Heroes of the Storm. And a lot of people on Team Liquid and stuff have been saying, oh yay, Dustin Browder's gone, he can't ruin our game anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
But I think it shows a shift in terms of Blizzard's priorities, and I would expect that StarCraft 2 isn't going to get much in the way of support anymore, apart from just Legacy of the Void being released further down the road. I guess there's a possibility for a WCS 2, but WCS 1 has already strangled the community as it is, so I'm not sure whether they'd want to do that even. I really think that StarCraft 2 is just a bit of a poisoned chalice at the moment, and they can't touch it without making it worse.
Very eloquent, and to be quite frank, you summed it up very nicely. That is kind of the situation that I see StarCraft 2 in as well. It's just falling apart, and I'm pretty excited about Dustin Browder coming over to Heroes of the Storm. Not totally excited because I know what StarCraft 2 is, but I don't know the guy personally, but I've seen videos of him, I've seen interviews, and he's a smart, intelligent, passionate guy who loves what he does, and he really gets into it. He's not just some guy behind a desk saying, "Yes, could you do this for me? Could you?" He gets into the game, so it's really good to have his passion. I just hope that he wasn't sort of like too responsible for StarCraft 2 being a bit dull, so to say, and I wouldn't have thought he was. I just hope that he was doing his job, and it was other people letting him down, so that way he can bring that passion onto Heroes of the Storm. So what have we got left? What are the other games? What are the other Blizzard games that aren't Heroes of the Storm? We're going to do that last, but that might be the one we're coming up to because I don't think there are any others to cover. We've got WoW, we've got StarCraft 2, we've got Hearthstone, we've got Diablo 3. I think that is it. So let's move on to Heroes of the Storm. Okay, so it's going to essentially be a MOBA. It's going to be a free-to-play game. It's going to be much like League of Legends and Dota 2, but obviously Blizzard's going to put their own flavor on it, so it's probably going to have a different style of gameplay, but the basic fundamentals is going to be there, aka 5 people on the bottom side, 5 people at the top side, generally, and they're just going to fight until one team destroys the other team's main base, whilst minions are being spawned for either side. And you control one hero with multiple abilities. That's going to be the fundamentals. What do people want to talk about with Heroes of the Storm?
I just want to see all the major heroes from Warcraft lore, like Manoroth and Grum, stuff like that.
Pit Lord.
As long as Anduin isn't in it.
Hey, Blizzard are working hard on Anduin. I'll tell you, he's going to be a big part of the next expansion. I can guarantee you that.
He's gonna die.
I wouldn't mind if they took all the StarCraft dev team and stuck them on it, because I'd much prefer that to StarCraft 2, I think.
Pracky?
Oh, stream is live.
I'm a bit worried about Heroes of the Storm because I'm assuming they're doing it on the StarCraft 2 engine, which I thought wasn't really stellar. So I don't know how it's going to work out. Also, they released that video a little while ago, and it was almost like they were going for some sort of a stylized, cel-shaded art style, and I didn't really like it, especially since they already had the models done. I think it was last BlizzCon, was that 2011? And they look good. So if they've ruined that, I'm going to be a bit annoyed.
Yes, there is a video on YouTube at the moment that shows off the BlizzCon 2011 models, and they look amazing. They get better and better. When you get to the point where you got Uther and Arthas, damn, they look good. I am a little bit concerned about the StarCraft 2 engine. I enjoy playing the game. I enjoy playing the campaign game, so it's not really an issue for me. The UI and sort of like the feel of it. I am biased towards Warcraft 3. I will always prefer Warcraft 3 over StarCraft 2. The feel of the game, how the units move, even though they've got the most annoying pathing in the world, it just feels right in Warcraft 3. And hopefully they just polish it up a little bit with the StarCraft 2, and it is only Dota. It's not so much a giant army game. You're just controlling one hero, so I don't think it's going to matter too much how the game feels. It's going to be more about how the hero feels. So as long as they get the smoothness of the heroes and that. And yes, I'm definitely looking forward to Heroes of the Storm because it's going to be, well, it's going to be all of the Blizzard franchises. All the heroes are going to be based on the Blizzard franchises, you know, sort of like Diablo 3, all the games we've mentioned so far. It's going to be a lot of big lore characters, and just, I can't wait, really. Anything else people want to talk about Heroes of the Storm? What to expect from it? Things like that?
If they make it Dota 2 with all my favourite Warcraft heroes in it, it'll be a massive success to me. I don't really like the cartoony thing, but I think you're right. The gameplay could make up for it if they do go that route.
Right.
Do you think it'll be free to play? Similar, which model do you think it'll be?
It's 100% free to play. 100% free to play, but
yeah, but wait, do you think it'll be all the heroes are free and you pay for costumes, aesthetic stuff, or do you think you'll have to unlock heroes with coins or pay for them with microtransactions?
knowing Blizzard, I think they're going to go more down the path of League of Legends than they will Dota 2, despite Dota 2 being very successful when it came out because of those features. I can't say for sure, we'll find out, but I think they'll go down the path of, you know, you earn points from winning games, or you can kind of skip that a little bit and put money in and buy a hero. I think they'll do very similar to League of Legends, where a lot of the things you pay for don't really win the game for you. The only thing being aside from that is essentially runes. If you had all the money in the world, you could get yourself the most perfect runes, but they're not the best things in the world, really. They do affect the game a little bit, but, you know, the main thing is you only really pay for aesthetics that affect the game, and Blizzard are going to have a million aesthetics. They're going to have all this stuff. They're definitely going to go down the League of Legends road for me than Dota 2 and give away too much for free, because Blizzard charge for loads at the moment, especially Activision Blizzard. So you got to pay a lot of money just to transfer characters in World of Warcraft and stuff like that. It's cost me a lot of money transferring characters. Little things like that that don't obviously cost them much, but they're going to put a price tag on a lot. I just hope that, and I'm trusting them for the most part to not put a price tag on items and things like that that could win the game, because Blizzard, I think they're going to be more interested in making the game balanced and fair, which is traditional Blizzard style. So I don't think they're going to ruin it by selling an item for £5 that has like 5 more damage than an item that you can buy in the game, because that would ruin it completely. Anything else people want to talk about Heroes of the Storm?
I think you're mostly right, but I'm not expecting to hear anything on the pricing at BlizzCon, because it's going to put a bit of a downer on things, unless the game's really unexpectedly far along in development.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think.
How far along do you think they are in terms of release date for it then?
Well, they've actually even got some live games getting played, and like Praki said, 2011 they showed models. They look amazing. The games, I mean, now that they've taken people off and put some more people, some big people, onto the project, Heroes of the Storm, I think it's going to be a matter of a year. They've obviously got to have the beta out. I expect that BlizzCon will be the introduction. They might even give, well, they'll probably almost definitely give beta keys to Heroes of the Storm. Now, a lot of people are thinking beta keys to Hearthstone, but Hearthstone's kind of at the end. It should have already been in open beta, so they'll be cheeky to give away beta keys to Hearthstone, because that's already been in beta for a while. So beta keys for Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm beta will begin either at the very end of this year or the start of the next year, and we're probably likely to see it come out mid next year if everything goes to plan, because there's not much reason why they can take much longer. The only thing that's going to slow them down is essentially testing it out in the beta, because the game balance has got to be right before they can, you know, bring in free to play and people paying for stuff, and then they go and nerf that stuff, for example. You know, people aren't going to be happy, so they've got to get that down, and they need to get the beta out really quickly. So I could say the beta could come out in a year, but I think it's much more likely to the end of this year or the start of next year. That way they can get working on the game balance, so they can bring out the game for next mid-year, but more likely probably next year, closer to quarter 3, quarter 4. But I would like to see it out before then.
A point of note on the Hearthstone beta keys, they stated categorically that all opt-ins will get invited before it goes to open beta. So well, unless they're going to go back on that, they might just say we're going to invite all the opt-ins over the next few days, possibly.
Fair enough. Anything else people are expecting from BlizzCon?
Warlords of Draenor is pretty much confirmed. So there's
Spoilers.
yeah, I'm sorry. On the stream they accidentally showed the icon for Warlords of Draenor, so
Yeah. All right.
because it had started, but alright.
Right. Okay, well, I'll wrap this up. So thank you, Delanis, Jake, and Praki
Yep.
for
Thanks for having me.
joining me in this discussion of BlizzCon 2013 predictions. And maybe we'll do a post discussion as well once BlizzCon is over, pretty much saying, yeah, I was right about that, or I thought they would do that. So yeah, we'll discuss and analyze BlizzCon in the future properly. So thank you all, and thanks for watching, everyone, and take care of yourselves. Please subscribe, like, and comment. This has been WTii. I'll see you later.